guys, welcome back to another episode of Bonita Lifestyle Podcast. On today's episode, I want to talk about 12 lessons that made me a better person. Okay, so first lesson, hitting rock bottom and learning to pick myself up. I remember, because there's been a lot of moments where I've hit rock bottom, and it's like sometimes you don't want, you're so hard-headed, you don't want to learn the lesson, so it's like, God is gonna take you back to the same lesson and until you finally understand. And that was one of the moments for me when I hit rock bottom in a relationship. And if it wasn't because of that ugly relationship, I wouldn't have known my worth. I wouldn't have learned how to pick myself up. So that was a good lesson. Hitting rock bottom, now it's like I see it like a blessing in disguise. I think like all bad things are a blessing in disguise. That's how I see it now. And then lesson two, adversity and my relationship with it. Learning to have a healthy relationship with adversity, challenge, struggle, pain. I feel like that has changed me so much and the way I see problems now. I don't see problems anymore like, oh, like I'm stuck here. I'm never getting out of this. No, like now I see it like, okay, this is teaching me something. I'm supposed to learn something for the next step in my life. If it wasn't for adversity, like I wouldn't learn the lessons I had to learn to be who I am now. So that's why I'm so thankful now. And I see problems in such a different way now. And lesson three, learning that my confidence comes from within, not from people's approval of me. That one was a big one because I remember for a long time always seeking approval of other people, like maybe even like my parents or certain friends. And it's like finally when I learned that the key to life, the key to really being happy with yourself is you approving of yourself. So when I finally learned that, I'm like, man, like all this time, like I was looking for it in the wrong places. Like it was always supposed to be me, like me approve me love me believe in me. So that was another big lesson. Lesson four, you can't change your past or people. And that was another big one for me, especially this year. Learning that you can't change the past. I feel like for a long time, certain things kept me stuck in a victim mentality of like, oh, why did this happen to me? Or why did I have to go through this? You know, like I don't see it that way anymore. Finally, I could say, okay, like it is what it is. I can't change the past. I can't change people. Learn, grow, move on. That's all we can do. I mean, those are things that are out of our control. And then for lesson five, growth is painful. Another thing that I've learned, that growth is painful. Going through those moments where you have to change to be a better version of you because you have to unlearn so many things. All that process is painful because it's like you're letting go of what you knew. You're letting go of a version of you that you've known for so long, and now that you're trying to change, it's like you beat yourself up. Like I remember beating myself up for certain things. I'm like, man, like I'm trying to change this, but I keep falling back to old habits. I keep falling back to old attitudes that I'm trying to break from. And it's painful, it's hard, but we gotta keep going no matter how hard it gets, no matter how painful it is. Keep going. And then lesson 6, perspective is everything. That's another lesson that I've learned, how important it is, um, that the way we see life is how we are inside, basically. Like the way you see yourself, the way you see, like, or problems, the way you see problems or challenges, or everything in life, it comes down to our perspective of it. So if you see a problem like a thing that's always gonna paralyze you, then you're never gonna grow. Every time you face a challenge, you feel like, oh my God, like here we go again. Instead of saying, okay, this is another problem. Okay, time to grow again. Or like if you see a negative person, instead of saying, oh my God, like I hate being around people like this. Okay, like let them be. Changing your point of view of things, of people, of situations, of circumstances into like a, a more positive um perspective, like it really helps a lot to navigate life and its challenges. And then lesson 7, the power of intention. That's another thing I really went deep on this year. The power of intention, doing things with the intention of with intention, and that could be anything. Like you could say, okay, like I'm gonna do this workout because I wanna, you know, strengthen my mind, my spirit, my my whole being, like doing that with intention. Or even eating, okay, I'm gonna eat this good, delicious food to nourish my body. That's doing things with intention. And I love that. I love that. So now, like, I see things different when I am gonna do something as well. Like I do it with like, okay, like um I remind myself, okay, like I'm gonna do this workout because it's gonna make me feel better, and me feeling better helps me treat other people better and treat myself better and just be a better person. And lesson number 8, you don't have to know it all or be completely ready to start something. That's something I learned this year as well, and that's why I started the podcast too. I'm like, okay, like I don't need to know it all to start something. It could be a business, it could be um working out. Like you don't have to know it all or completely know it all to start. Like I'm still working on how to even eat better. Like there's so many things that we don't I mean that I don't know about, like foods, maybe certain foods that aren't really good for my body, that maybe you know I should avoid, and I'm still trying to learn all that. Like so yeah, definitely doing things, like starting something. You don't have to know it all or be completely ready to start something. So that's another lesson that I've learned this year. um Lesson number 9, never settle for less in any area of your life. That's another lesson that I've learned, to never settle. And that's in everything, and relationships, and your finances, and your person, like in yourself, in anything, in your job, in your career, whatever you have going on, like never settle in any area of your life. And I've learned that now. It's like I strive for more and more, and I want more, like in every area, like in my relationships. I want, better, meaningful relationships, better, Like even in conversations, I like to have like meaningful, deep conversations with people, not just like, talking about dumb stuff or especially talking about people. That's one thing I don't tolerate. I don't like that. So yeah, that's another way to never settle for less. Lesson 10. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It bleeds in other areas of your life. That's another thing I've learned, that how you do one thing, for example, if you're the kind of person that tends to start something and never finishes it, you tend to do that in other areas. It could be even in your relationships. Like you struggle in a relationship and then you're like, you know what, never mind, I don't want to be in this relationship because it's a struggle, it's too much work, or I feel like that's how I understand it. It's like even maybe even in starting a business, like it gets hard and you're like, oh, never mind, like this is not meant to be because it's so hard. Like nobody said it would be easy. Like like making something, doing something big, or having, you know, a big real like not a big relationship, like having, like even having like healthy relationships, it's work. Everything is work. And I feel like learning that like how to take care of those things, like it could be in anything, like even the relationship with your kids, with your parents, it's all work. It's all having, you know um uncomfortable conversations to make the relationship better, and it goes with everything. um so yeah, I kind of went off track on that one, but I understand myself. Okay, so for lesson 11, it's okay to be different or to be misunderstood. That's another thing. That's a big lesson that I have learned this year, because I remember always feeling a little shameful for being who I was, like I'm always like a goofy person. I feel like my personality can be like super goofy, or sometimes I feel like people think I'm dumb because of how goofy I could be sometimes. Um, or being misunderstood. I feel like that used to take me, like it would be it would take me like, how do you say it? Like it would be like, how do you say it? Like, I don't know, like those were like hard pills to swallow for me. Like being misunderstood, I feel like, I remember in certain situations, I was like, "Oh my God," like you feel like you need to explain yourself or over explain yourself, or then you feel guilty because you think, "Oh, I shouldn't have said this," or I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, it is what it is. Sometimes like we say things like we know what we mean, but then sometimes they could come out the wrong way. I don't know, whatever. Um, Now it's like, okay, like knowing that you meant it in a good way, you know, it's okay, like you don't have to explain yourself. And I've learned to not explain myself. If some people take it the wrong way, it is what it is. You can't please everybody in the world. And then also being different, like, or being weird, like be weird if you're weird. Like that's one thing I've learned. I'm like, I am how I am. I could be goofy, weird, I could be all, and it's okay. I could laugh weird or funny. It's okay. I don't feel intimidated by that anymore. It's like it's who I am. I'm embracing it now. Okay, so for lesson 12. My lesson 12 that I learned, that only you can pick yourself up. Only you can make yourself happy. Only you can fix your problems. Taking personal responsibility. is freedom. And that's how I see it now. Like that's another big lesson that I learned, how important it is to take personal responsibility, to stop pointing the finger, because of this or because of this person or this situation, I can't be who I am. Like, no, like taking personal responsibility in any area. It could be, your job, your marriage, if you're married. For me, that one was big. Um, because I didn't realize how victim mindset, like, I sorry, I burped. I didn't realize how much in a victim mindset I was for a long time. And then when I started really going down those rabbit holes, I was like, wait a minute, like, why do I feel, you know, sorry for myself, or why do I have to wait for somebody else to make me happy? That's my responsibility. And learning that has really made me feel free, like so much freedom inside, because it's like it's always been me. It's always been me that has been holding me back. It's always been me that I'm responsible for making me happy, for working on myself. Nobody's gonna work on on themselves for me. Like, I have to do the work. I have to take accountability of my stuff, and if I'm not comfortable with who I am, it's my responsibility to change myself. It's my responsibility to do things different, to change my habits. So yeah, that one was a big one for me, and I feel like we all need to really take that one in in action, or however you call it. Like, that's something, because I see it a lot in, like, once you like see it in yourself, you're able to see it in others. Like, okay, like when they're being victims of this and that, like, because they're blaming this or that, or that person, or that circumstance. And I'm like, dang, like, I'm like, it's crazy how a lot of people are in that mindset of victim, that they're not taking accountability of their actions, of their, mistakes, of their whole person, and it's very important. And trust me, the freedom you feel after, like, really taking responsibility of, like, okay, I messed up here. I've done this wrong all my life. Okay, like, let me change it. Let me do the change. Nobody's gonna do it for me. Like, it's so rewarding. So yeah, those are my 12 lessons that have really made me a better person, and I will continue to work on them, because, like, not because you do it one time, like you work on one area one time, it doesn't mean it's always gonna stay the same. Like, you're gonna evolve and want to make it better. You know, you could be good, but you could always be better. That's another thing I've learned, and that growth and change is forever. Like, we always have to work on ourselves. I don't know, like, I talk a lot about that, I know, but because it's true, it's so important to do that work, that inner work. Alrighty then. That's it for today's episode. I hope you guys learned something different, something new, maybe a new perspective and something. And yeah, all right, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. And until next time, bye.